Hello everybody and welcome back to another behind the scenes video, and in this one we've traveled 5,000 miles all the way to Texas in the USA for ATW 2025. This is the biggest and most ambitious project that we've ever taken on as a company. This is a place we've never been, with people we've never worked with, in a venue we've never filmed in, for a client that we've never worked with as well. So you best believe I'm going to bring everyone along for the ride. Yeah. Stay tuned. So let's talk through the gear that we've brought to this show in order to capture everything. Let's talk through this interview setup. So if you spin around, sounds good to me. Okay, camera speed. So it's the first job that we've ever brought on a dedicated production coordinator. So we're going to run this final day and then wrap on the project. That's a big project. Okay, welcome to Dallas. So we arrived here yesterday and essentially checked into the Airbnb and went straight to sleep. We've allowed ourselves an entire day to get used to the time zone change. The only thing that we've got to do today is actually go to the venue, do a recce walk around and load in all of our kit so that tomorrow morning doesn't have to be stressful, it can be nice and relaxed, and we also don't have to get up at like stupid o'clock in the morning to load in all of our kit. We can just turn up and everything's there ready for us to start filming. This is also the first time that I'm going to get to meet part of the team that we're working with for the rest of the week. Obviously, like we've spoken at length over Zoom and video calls prior to actually turning up on site, but to get to meet them in person is super exciting. But anyway, let's get to the venue. So that is the recce of the site done. We've also loaded in the kit as well. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to come in and do this today because, like I said, it just means that tomorrow morning everything is super chill and we don't have to kind of have all of the stress and the comments and the concerns that can all be ironed out today, and then we can just get to it straight away tomorrow morning. All that's left to do now, go back, get a good night of rest, and then we're back here for the start of 4 hectic days. So we'll see you then. All right, so start of day 1, and let's talk about this hectic project. Like I mentioned, this is the biggest project that we've ever taken on as a company. In terms of our deliverables, I've got them written down here, so let me just talk them through. We've got 2 highlight videos, one for the event and one for the awards. We've got 14, I haven't even got that many fingers, 14 full sessions to record on 2 cameras through the ATEM, and we'll talk you through our setup for all of that. We've got 10 workshop sessions on 2 cameras, 6 mini highlight videos of specific sessions, 8 presentation videos, 30 short form cut downs, interviews, B-roll, and then all of the dailies, which is basically like raw footage, but it's cut, colored, and stabilized as well. That's a big project, and we're going to run you through everything in this video. All right, let's talk through the full session capture, and this will also be the workshop capture that we're doing tomorrow. So basically on here, these sticks, we've got 2 FX3s, 16 to 35 on there for the wide, and then 70 to 200 on the other one for the tight. They run through HDMI all the way through here into the back of this Blackmagic ATEM down here, which then HDMIs out into the monitor, so we can essentially have a preview feed on there. And then the ATEM also spits out into a T7, which will give you the essentially like the full cut capture, the isolated camera files, and also the audio that comes from AV. Whilst I'm on audio as well, that's a XLR feed that comes from AV into a Zoom F3, and then the Zoom F3 goes through 3.5 into the back of the ATEM. Whilst we're here, we can also talk about safety. So both cameras are recording internally. We've then got the Zoom F3 recording internally as well, and then the ATEM essentially gives you the isolated camera files, the full cut, and then the isolated audio files as well. So that's everything in terms of the full session capture. Let's talk about the team. So Yasmin and I flew out from the UK. Obviously you've got myself, director and producer. Yasmin is my operations manager on a day-to-day basis, but then when we're on site, she also acts as an on-site producer as well as a vision mixer as well. In terms of the actual freelance crew that we brought, you've got Jared Phelps, who's behind filming me right now. He's basically running handheld and gimbal B-roll for the entire show. And when I first spoke to Jared, apparently he doesn't like being stood in one place for too long. So I've basically got him running around the show, and now he's complaining that his shins are hurting. So that's his fault, right? We've then got a guy called Victor. So Victor is basically doing some gimbal B-roll when Jared's not available, as well as doing the full recording sessions with Yasmin. So Victor will be filming and then Yasmin will be mixing that. You've then got Spencer Christian, who is doing the workshop, so he'll be filming all of Theatre 1 workshops. You've then got a guy called John Muir, or S as we call him, and S is doing workshop 2, or Theatre 2, and all of the workshops in there. You've then got another lady called Abigail as well. Abigail has come on board for 2 days to be production coordinator. Tuesday and Wednesday are basically crazy hectic days where we've got tons of stuff happening all through the day, so I needed a dedicated production coordinator to make sure that everybody is where they need to be, when they need to be there, doing exactly what they need to be doing. It's the first job that we've ever brought on a dedicated production coordinator. Typically it's me, but I just felt for this one, given the magnitude of the project, we needed a dedicated person to essentially manage the entire production. The only other crew member that we've got that isn't on site with us is a guy called Kai Edwards. You would have seen him in some of our behind the scenes in the past. Kai is basically a remote editor. So he's taking all of the footage that we give him and he's then editing it, chopping it down, making it more manageable for us to then come in and do the final cuts for all of the deliverables. It's actually really good having an offsite editor in the UK, seeing as we're in the US, because of the time zone difference that we're working on. Basically, like, we upload stuff and then go to bed, and then Kai wakes up, because he's 6 hours behind, he wakes up to raw footage, and then he will upload that when he goes to sleep, and then we wake up to kind of final files or ready to use files. So that's everything for the team, an 8-person crew to manage this entire production. Cool.
My shins don't hurt that bad, he's like...
So let's talk through the gear that we've brought to this show in order to capture everything that we talked about in the deliverables. So 2 main cameras is FX6, which is filming me right now and also doing all of the handheld B-roll basically for the show. We've got another FX6 that's basically dedicated to doing the interviews as well. We've then got 7 FX3s. So you've got 1, 2 to do one workshop, you've got 3, 4 to do another workshop, you've got 5, 6 to do the full session recordings, and you've got one more on the gimbal to get all of those kind of sexy, sweeping, slow-mo shots as well. The only other camera that we've got in operation is basically an A7 IV. Now that is a backup camera as well as being a behind-the-scenes photo camera. You always need to bring backups to a production, and the A7 IV is a fantastic photo camera, a fantastic video camera, so it's the perfect one that we can have as a backup as well. Just give me a testing 1, 2, 3 for the microphone, please. Testing 1, 2, 3. Sounds good to me. Okay, camera speed. Okay, let's talk through this interview setup. So if you spin around, filming it on FX6 with a 24-70 G Master just allows me to go wide and tight and essentially like not have to go for the same frame every single time. In terms of a key, we are using the Aperture 300X at 4500 Kelvin. That's pretty much 100%. Typically, we'd like to put a flag to cover these kind of overhead lights, but if you blast the light as fast, like essentially as much as it can, kind of cuts off most of that light anyway. Other than that, we have a tube light over here, so an Aperture tube light at 3500 Kelvin as the hair. That's boomed over just above their head to essentially, you know, just give a nice little bit of separation from the background. So that is the interview setup. This is pretty much me for the rest of the show, kind of just conveyor belting interviews and getting some great sound bites from the brilliant people that are here. So yeah, nice easy one to get you started. You just introduce who you are and what it is that you do. So we're back for the final day. I'm not really sure where we're at with this behind the scenes video because we've got to kind of film it as and when we can. Yesterday we wrapped up on a full day of filming with the workshops and the full sessions and everything in between. It was a crazy day, and then we went to an awards evening from about 7 till 11 as well. We didn't manage to capture much behind the scenes there, but I'll cut in some of the kind of the final footage and whatever we did capture now. Hey, of course you can, yeah, jump in. Today is quite a relaxed day. We finish at 1, so it's a cheeky half day, and all it is B-roll pickups, a couple of full recorded sessions, and that's it. We're going to wrap on this project. The rest of the day for me will then basically just be spent editing the footage and organizing everything and making sure that we have all of the files that we need to then give to the client and send off to the editors as well. So we're going to run this final day and then wrap on the project. So just like that, the shoot is now over. It always seems like you're about to run up this massive hill before you go ahead and do something to this scale. We've worked on multi-day events before and they always go so quickly. You always have to kind of sit and almost like take a moment to take it all in. and remind yourself that, this is exactly what you wanted to do. For me personally, I've been doing this for a long time now, over 8 years at this point. Pretty much everything that I've done over those 8 years has been working towards a goal like this, a shoot like this. Obviously, you saw we went to Dubai in November. That was a massive milestone for me. And now this one, our first project in America as well, another huge milestone that we're beginning to really box off. And it's interesting, like I feel things are really starting to kind of hockey stick curve now in terms of the projects that we're tendering for, the opportunities that are in front of us, the work that is beginning to come through. It really kind of is true, like that cliche of just keep working and keep grinding and keep believing in yourself and keep believing in your ability to achieve these things. And as long as you do that, eventually things will start to happen. And what it feels like for me now is that those things are starting to happen. And I think if I had kind of had anything to say to that younger version of myself is just like, it will happen. There's going to be a lot of things along the way that don't feel like they're heading anywhere, but I think that when you take a moment to kind of just take stock of what you're currently doing, they all begin to make sense. It all begins to kind of come together. I think it's about just having faith in your ability, in your ambition, in your dreams. Like, I don't want to sound too corny, but like they really can happen if you just kind of stay the course and keep doing the things that you know you need to be doing every single day to get there.